Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coltrane Conservatory, the Arts Talk Show. And we hope that you're going to be sticking around with us for a few minutes. We're going to be talking about the school as well as some of the issues facing our society. Now, some of you are just returning, and then others are tuning in for the first time. We've been on the air here now maybe 2.5, almost 3 years, and so you should have seen us or heard about us. We're at the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts, and we're at 6353 South Cottage Grove. We are probably the best known music school on the south side of Chicago. A lot of people teaching music, but they're doing it in their back rooms, in their homes, in their basement, this, that, and the other, all over Chicago, whether or not it's in on the south side, whether or not it's in Evergreen, Beverly Hills or Hyde Park or wherever it is. So our school is right on the street. You can't miss it. If you're driving up and down Cottage Grove, you should have seen it by now. It's right next to the Grand Ballroom. And we invite you to give us a call here at the station, or you may call us at 773-891-1875. And we'll give you more information on these programs. All right, if you have children, you have grandchildren, you have great-grandchildren, or if you would like to learn an instrument, then we welcome you to give us a call, and we're going to explain everything to you. Mr. Lionel Dunn, our loyal board operator, is with us, and he's with us every Wednesday. He's also one of the instructors over at the school. He teaches several instruments, and of course I teach several myself. So stick around. We're going to be talking here a few minutes about some things that are going on in Washington, of all places. I'm pretty sure you know that lots of things have been going on, and Donald Trump, along with a bunch of the staff people there at the White House, are in some deep trouble. And why are they in deep trouble? Because they put themselves in it by doing things that they knew, if they got caught, would put them into jeopardy, their lives in jeopardy. And the one thing that, and most of these people are have been around for many decades. They're not kids anymore. Starting with Donald Trump, they've all been around a long time, and to have to go to jail at that age, oh boy, 67, 8, 9, 70 years old, and even more. That is going to really, really, really hurt them and their families. So my heart goes out to these people. I hope that they don't get caught in more shenanigans than what they've already been caught in. But I do want to mention here that it's going to be important for us to recognize that when you do wrong in life, somehow you end up having to pay for it at somewhere. Somebody said that cause and effect is very strict. What goes around comes around, and we all reap what we have sown. So this is the results of bad behavior, and there's always some sort of punitive action involved in bad behavior, even if we don't get caught by society. We will have to pay for the wrongs that we do. And this is a very strict principle, that we pay for all those things. That if we sow good seed, we reap good things. If we sow bad seed, we reap bad things. It's really not all that complicated. In fact, it's very simple. Now, again, I want you to give us a call here at the station. This is an interactive program. All you have to do is just give us a call, and we'll answer the phone for you, and we'll talk to you. We'll even put you on the air. You can talk on the air about some of the things that we're talking about. And by the way, there's a person named Stormy Daniels. Many of you have heard of her. She's a porn star, and what they've done is linked her to Trump. Oh yeah, and in a big way, they've linked her to Trump. In fact, so big until $130,000 was paid to her by Trump's lawyer I never heard of that. Why? And you know what's so interesting about that is, and by the way, let me just bring you up to par where we are. This woman was supposed to be having an affair with Trump right after he got married to his current wife. She was having an affair with him. So Trump was running around from this allegation during the time in which he was newlywed to his current wife now. And what happened is when Trump decided to run for president, they had to make certain that this woman didn't come out and spill the beans on this affair that she was having with him. And so Trump's lawyer said that he gave this woman $130,000 to keep quiet. That's a lot of money. $130,000, man. You're talking about cabbage. That's a lot of money. Now, the situation has come down to where the woman is saying that the money that they paid her was inadequate. I guess you're saying that. 130 sounds a little funny, doesn't it? Because most of the time you don't say, well, I'll give you 130. You'll say, I'll give you 125 or I'll give you 150. Most of the time a person is asking for maybe 150 around that, and you get them, you negotiate it down and said, okay, I'll give you 130, take it or leave it. And naturally she took it. But the agreement that she signed to keep quiet Trump didn't sign it. Her lawyer signed it, she signed it, but Trump didn't sign it. And so what she did is she sued Trump yesterday. And I suppose that the suit is intended to nullify this contract, to get rid of it altogether so she can probably say what she wants to say and probably even write a book or whatever and make some more money. Because when people are porn stars, folks, for the most part, they live and breathe money, okay? And so she wants to get out of this agreement with, and I guess she wants to become even more famous because she's become very famous during this time. And the more famous she is, the more she's going to earn as an actress, albeit a porn star actress. Now, I want to say that Mr. Trump has denied all of this. He said, no, I didn't do it. Well, you remember he denied those 13 women who accused him of sexual misconduct with them before he became president. So he's denying it all, and we'll find out what's going on, because if a judge decides that her suit is valid and that he's going to allow her to say what she wants to say and do what she wants to do, then she may be saying some things that could get Trump into some big trouble, because you can't just go around giving people $130,000. And from what I understand, if your legal defense, if your lawyer decides he's going to do that on your behalf and doesn't reveal that to you, the client, that is illegal. A lawyer can't do that. A lawyer can only do those things for you that you are totally, completely in agreement and knowledgeable of. They can't do anything for you without you knowing it. And so Trump said he never knew anything about this. I didn't know anything about this. And so it turns out that the lawyer could be in some trouble, Trump could be in some trouble, and I'm pretty sure the IRS, I don't think it was reported to anybody, and I'm pretty sure there are federal agencies that would be concerned about whether or not the law was broken when this money was transferred. So I wanted to share that with you on today, because this is the latest melee that's occurring in the White House with Mr. Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to say this, and we're going to end this today, but when it comes down to this so-called Christian evangelical movement and those people who are in it, I think it's straight out phony of people to claim that they love, Jesus Christ, and they believe in the principles of Jesus Christ, and they have been in lockstep with Trump throughout this entire ordeal. They have been with him. They have never once, to my knowledge, even the preachers, let alone the followers, have never once, to my knowledge, stood up and said, wait a minute, this is not the behavior nor teachings of Jesus Christ. I mean, they haven't stood up to say that not only is this not the ways of Christ, and it's certainly not scriptural, but it's reprehensible. And it's not just reprehensible for an individual who, who's in the White House. It's reprehensible for a person, everyday average person, just walking down the streets of our city, the cities of America. I cannot see how people, especially these people like well, I won't name any names, but some of these so-called evangelists, I can't see how they could stand by and not criticize this behavior. Even if you were to say, okay, I'm with this man because he believes in life, so to speak, because these so-called Christian evangelists, they don't believe in abortions. He believes in, things that we believe in, but at the same time, he's doing a lot of things that we don't believe in and we don't agree with. They won't even say that. You think that people like McCollum and Ryan are mute? Man, oh man, these people haven't said a thing in the world about Trump's behavior. And this is really quite surprising that they're not standing up and taking a stand against what is, as most of us will agree, very distasteful behavior. I mean, we're all, I'm a man, and I know that Mr. Trump is a man, and we all, sometimes we go too far, but I don't think any of us has gone as far as Trump, because Trump said that he actually will grope women in the private area. He said he got caught on an audio saying that, and that was awful. And then he came out and said, I don't even think that's my voice. The voice was identical to him. And we all know his voice because he loves to talk, Now let me say something on his behalf, all righty? Because we know all the trouble that he's in, and believe me when I tell you, Mueller and his team of lawyers and the FBI investigators, man, if they don't come up with something on Trump, I almost want to say that I'll eat my hat on camera right in front of you. Because they are really excavating and digging all the way down to try and find out what went on with him and whether or not it was collusion, money laundering, and a whole bunch of other crooked stuff going on. Okay? And before I leave this young lady, Hope Hicks, who left the other day, glamorous young woman, 29 years old, I just think that, to be honest, that she got caught into a web of deceitfulness mixed in with some bits and pieces of integrity. Because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at people who do have integrity somewhat and a lot of crookedness at the same time. And I think that this young woman really just had to leave and get away from it, because when you, as a young person like she is, building her career up, trying to do the right thing, and you're around so many people who they'll do the right thing and then they'll do a whole lot of wrong things. You're confused. You don't know what's going on. You know that it's not right, and you're trying your best to do your best. And at the same time, you're seeing these things and you know they're not right, you know. And I really think that she left more because of that than anything else. Because this young woman had never been in anything like that. And we're finding out that, unfortunately, many of these people in the White House, they just don't have a lot of integrity. And that's a fact, you know, and it all starts with Mr. Donald Trump. Now, I want to say this right here. He did something this week that most people are criticizing, especially the so-called economists and some of the people who bring us the nightly and daily news, you know. He imposed tariffs on the whole world, as far as I'm concerned. He said 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum. Now, folks, let me tell you this right here. Most of these countries, most of them, the majority of them, have all kinds of tariffs on products coming into their country to be sold. That's a fact. And take it from a man who's worked and lived in a foreign country at the same time. You know, I was in Europe, and I know what those Germans had. And I think I shared this with you once before. I was talking to a German nationalist one day about an automobile that I was driving had been assigned to me by my company. It was an Impala Chevrolet. And he was admiring it, and he said he liked it. And I said to him, why don't you buy yourself one? He said, I'd love to, but it would cost me more money to buy this car than it would a top-of-the-line SEL 500 Mercedes-Benz here in Germany. He told me that. This came from that man's mouth. And believe me when I tell you, there are so many countries around this world who are stiffing the United States when it comes down to trading policies. Another thing I noticed, I made a purchase out of China. It was a substantial purchase. Okay, almost $2,000. I'll just give you the number. And it turns out that when I got the invoice from them after having paid them, I got the invoice and all of the information came with this item that I purchased from over there. The price I paid for it had been altered. Yes, had been altered. It was far less than what I had paid for it. And of course, I needed the exact price because I have my taxes to pay and my responsibility here in America. And when I called all the way to China and finally got a hold of the fellow who runs the company that I was dealing with, he made a lot of statements and things of that type and didn't make any sense, but usually when that happens, people go into a stonewalling thing, and they are saying things in order to not be clear and concise in what they're saying. And so I knew that, and at that time I knew that he was trying to watch on the taxes and the other things that our government put on their products when they come into this country. But what surprised me was that that thing was able to clear customs like that without the custom staff people maybe questioning it or wanting to see more credible documentation of the cost of the item. You know, that surprised me. And it's almost as though the Chinese, and I'm pretty sure if he did that with me, he's done it with a whole bunch of Americans. It's almost as though the Chinese are saying, okay, we know we can get away with that because we know the Americans are not going to go but so far or say so much because they don't want to offend us. You know, it's almost as though they're saying, this is a country who's walking on thin ice when it comes to China. And I'm trying to tell you, folks, you know, like I tell you, I come down on Donald Trump and his policies and his ways a whole lot. But in this case, even though I don't think it's being done properly, I'm really supporting what he's doing, because I'm actually tired of I'm frankly tired of these American companies shipping jobs off to China and Thailand and Mexico and other places of that type. I'm really tired of it. You know, my father came up as a blue-collar worker, and he worked for U.S. Steel on the railroad part of it. He was a switchman on the railroad. And then I had a lot of other people in my family, my uncles and whatnot. During the time they came up, they all came up working for steel mills and mines and things of that type. And of course they did pretty well. That's why I'm sitting here now on television, and was lucky enough to go to school and get an education. But the bottom line, though, is we need those jobs back. There are people who come out of not everybody would like to go to college. Many people come out of college, they want to get a job, a decent paying job. And to go back to what I just said, these were decent paying jobs that my uncles and my father and all of them had. You know, they were decent paying jobs, and they raised us all up. You know, we were never hungry, never on welfare or any of that other stuff. You know, and so, and for those of you who have, I don't mean anything by that. Those of you who need a helping hand, you deserve it. You're an American. When I was working in Europe, I found out that everybody over there, if you're unemployed, they give you some sort of stipend, and it's not just something for 5 months or 6 months. It's until you find employment. They give you some sort of food supplement, and also they supplement your rent and stuff of that type. You talking about social programs, social welfare programs, or whatever you want to call it. Those individuals over there, trust me when I tell you, they have everything. They don't allow any of their people to sink down in a hole like we do here sometimes in America, you know. But anyway, I just want to say that. So there's nothing wrong with getting assistance from the government. They should give you assistance. All the money that this country is spending on weapons, and I'm talking about nuclear weapons, nukes and tanks and AK-47s and all these different kinds of guns and whatnot that they have. I'm talking about trillions and trillions of dollars, and guess what? Donald Trump is talking about spending more. You know, it's a shame. And we talk about the little something that we do to assist an American, a person born here in this country and raised in this country. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. You know? Now, folks, I want you to give us a call here. You can call us at 773-891-1875. Alrighty? and get more information on our school, you need to call us in order to get it. Now, I'm going to give you that number again. You need to write it down, 773-891-1875. And ask us about our trumpet training on the saxophone, on the drums, on the piano, on the flute. All of these instruments are available to you. And I want to make a guarantee with you that if you do come to our school, you will learn how to play an instrument. And I mean you will learn how to play an instrument, because we do not play around with that. We don't play around with that. And I have seen situations where students have been at places for sometimes a year or two, and they don't hardly know the difference between F sharp and B flat. Okay, I'll see you next time. Take care and be careful.